Dave Anderson here with the Fisherman magazine. It's June 19th. These are your headlines. We are seeing bonito around in targetable numbers across a large swath of southern New England, which is pretty cool. Also seeing a lot of big striped bass across the region. One place that's really starting to heat up though is Block Island. And then we're seeing some really nice big fluke coming out of western Long Island Sound. Stay tuned for all that and more on this week's New England Fishing Forecast.
The ultimate fishing authority in the Northeast, the Fisherman magazine.
Before we begin, we got a few news items for you guys. The first one, I just want to remind Connecticut anglers that sea bass season will close temporarily on June 23rd. It's due to reopen on July 8th. But this is something that we're getting used to. This is, I think, the third season in a row where we're doing this. And this is just a way that fisheries managers kind of used some of the conservation equivalency stuff to make it possible to keep the minimum size at 16 inches. So by closing for this little 2-week period, that made that possible. Also made it possible to keep the sea bass season open almost to the end of November. So right now, we have a minimum size of 16 inches. If we didn't do this, we'd probably go up to 16 and a half. And we may also have seen a bag limit change. So I just wanted to make sure you guys knew about that. And also, if you're really itching to get some sea bassing in during that short closure, party and charter boats are exempt from the closure. So you can hop on with the Black Hawk, or you can charter one of the guys in the magazine and get out there and continue your sea bass fishing. So I just want to make sure everybody knew that so nobody made any mistakes out there. Next thing, we're going to check in with Jenny Ackerman. Here's her latest installment of Open Boat.
Stay tuned for this week's Open Boat, where we're doing a rig tying how-to to give you a leg up on the Super Fluker Challenge.
It was a busy week in the CKC with 7 fish hitting the board. We saw the first hardtails of 2025 with a pair of bonito, a 21 1/4 incher from Justin Oser and a 22 incher from Tom Hood. We had a couple nice bottom fish come in as well. A 14 1/2 inch scup by Bob Lofgren, landing him in 3rd for the category, and a 21 3/4 inch sea bass landed by Justin Oser, putting him in 3rd place for the sea bass category. Dustin Stevens put up a 3rd place bluefish of 31 inches, and we had 2 big stripers. Bob Wagner logged a 45 incher, and Mario Santos took the lead spot with a mammoth 48 1/2 incher. The current leaderboard looks like this. Tom Hood stands in 3rd place with 4 points. David Dew drops to 2nd place with 5 points. And Justin Oster is back on top with 8 total points.
Hey kayakers, the Fisherman's Coastal Kayak Clash contest is back. Win this fully outfitted Hobie Mirage Lynx kayak from Yak Attack along with other great prizes. Catch and release as many of these species to be top on the leaderboard. To enter, you must be a subscriber to the Fisherman magazine, fish from a kayak, and document your catch. Many chances to win great prizes, so get out there on the water now and fish hard. To be part of the action, you must be a subscriber and register at thefisherman.com. Now it's time for the Dreamboat Update. Well, with the poor weather we've been having lately, the leaderboard stands the same as last week. In 3rd place, we have Sean Brownyard with 9 points. In 2nd place, Rashawn Williams with 10 points. And in 1st place, Thomas Luciano with 21 points. Are you the best angler in the Northeast? Well, now is your chance to prove it. The Fisherman's Dreamboat Contest is back. Win this Steigercraft center console powered by Yamaha along with these other great prizes. Fish hard and weigh in as many of these species to be top on the leaderboard. What's the catch? You must be a subscriber to the Fisherman magazine. All it takes is 1 fish on the board to win a great prize, so however you fish, you have a shot. For all the details and official rules, visit thefisherman.com.
And the last thing, of course, is the giveaway, which continues, and this one is really turning up to be a battle. I've seen a lot of photos coming in. Unsurprisingly, a lot of these photos are from surf fishermen trying to win these Super Strike lures. But these are, very unique, custom Super Strikes. You're never going to see this color again. And, this is your one chance to win it. So you've got until the end of August. It's the last Wednesday in August. I believe it's the 27th. And I should have checked before I started, but in any case, you got a whole summer to try to catch that winning photo. And I just want to remind everyone, it doesn't have to be like a photo of a surf caught fish. It can be a freshwater fish. It could be an offshore fish. It can be something you caught on your vacation to, I don't care where. You just got to take a nice photo. It's got to be the angler holding his or her fish, and you got to give me the details. Where the fish was caught, how big it was, what it was caught on, all that fun stuff. Send it in to me at danderson@thefisherman.com or text them to the number on the screen. Send them in, and we'll see who wins. Moving over into the reports now, striper reports coming out of Maine kind of took a dip over the last week. Things were looking really strong there for a few weeks, and it just seems like a lot of those bigger fish have moved on. By no means does that mean that things are not going to resume. They absolutely will. It's just a little lull in the action right now. Still plenty of smaller fish around. It's just that quick run of bigger fish seems to have moved on for whatever reason. Drop it down over the border into Massachusetts. Let's check in now with Kevin Huang from Surfland Bait and Tackle.
A lot of the fish moved out of upriver. I mean, there's still fish up in the Merrimack. Guys are still catching them way up towards the dam. But a lot of the fish now are pushed up everywhere. I mean, the guys fishing out in Joppa. Attached will be a bunch of different pictures of boat fish, kayak fish, surf fish caught in the mouth, fish caught down at Sandy Point. There's striped bass everywhere. Fish up to low 50 inches were caught. I mean, live eels at night. During the day, it's been clams, mackerel, sea worms, plugs. At night, needlefish, my ultimate favorite, smoking fish. Minnow swimmers like SP minnows, Yozuri long cast, any of those type of minnow baits been working too. Meadow lips, I don't know. Meadow lips from upriver, all the way upriver to the mouth. I mean, guys are crushing fish on meadow lips. Dannies, Donnies, Slims, Pikeys. I mean, guys have been doing really well, so I call it like the year of the meadow lip, even though I'm going to fish needles more than anything else. You know what I mean? Because I'm a needle guy. Always going to be a needle guy. So, I'll see you guys next week. The fishing is great on Plum Island, so if you get the chance, I would definitely get out there, whether you want to soak bait, throw plugs, or just spend a nice day with the family. There's definitely fish around, so I would definitely get out there. See you guys next week.
Now we'll drop down to the Boston Harbor area, and we'll check in with Danny Parma from Fish Bucket Sport Fishing.
Thanks, Dave. Dan checking in with this week's report. Another good week of fishing in Boston. The bite's just about as strong as it's gonna get. We got fish everywhere from the upper harbor all the way out into over past Dare Island. Seems like we have a nice little school hanging out in the Castle Island area. So if you can do some trolling, the white mojos have been doing really well. The umbrella rigs, the Boston Massacre umbrella rigs we've been trolling with the mackerel pattern, that seems to be working extremely well. And live max. A lot of times we'll be trolling the umbrella rigs with the mojo on the side, and we'll have a free floating mac up on the top. And when you start getting in the skinny water, a lot of times you'll get hit on that top single mackerel. Yeah, fishing's crazy right now. So get out there, get your time in, know the area. If you don't know the area and you'd like to fish Boston a little more, I'd highly recommend either taking a guided trip with someone who knows the area, or book a charter. Boston Harbor Guides is a friend of ours that will go on your boat and show you the area, show you the places that you want to and don't want to go. There is a lot of rocks, there's a lot of shallow areas, and it can get a little dicey, so you got to know the area. Be safe, guys, right? Like, we all love fishing, but we don't want to see any tragedies out in the water. So stay safe. That's what I got. I'll catch you on the next one.
For more than 20 years, anglers everywhere have come to know one thing: that nothing says no to fish bites.
Heading inland from there, Roy is away again this week, so we're not going to get a report from him. But the things that I've been hearing, some of the deep water lakes in central Mass, like Hopkinton Reservoir, are still producing trout. Doesn't sound like the bite's been killer, But for the guys that want to put in the time and the effort to catch a few trout in the summertime here, you can get it done in some of these deeper ponds. Still hearing about some nice smallmouth bass coming out of Wachusett Reservoir, which is pretty cool. And largemouth bass fishing has been kind of universally good across the entire region. This is a really great time of year to chase largemouth bass. It's a good time to get some big ones too. For me, this is frogging time. It's also, you know, pitching the jig time. These are the two ways that I like to put in my time freshwater fishing at this time of the year. But obviously there's a lot of other ways to do it. Plastic worms are another great option at this time of the year. Spinner baits, buzz baits, all that stuff. Also a great time of year to kind of cash in on that sunset bite. You're going to get a lot of topwater action, you're going to get increased activity, and you got a shot at getting a really big fish. Heading down to the coast now, kind of that area from Boston all the way down to the canal. I've been hearing about a lot of mackerel showing up along that stretch. And the guys that are going out to catch them, the big sort of secret, I guess, is to get out there at first light. That's when the bite has been really good. After that, they tend to go down. They're a little harder to target. But anywhere there's mackerel, there tends to be game fish. And right now there's a lot of striped bass in and around those mackerel. So the boat guys along that stretch have been doing very well, live lining mackerel and catching some nice sized stripers. In along the beaches, I've been hearing about a lot of guys throwing eels from the beach, and they are catching some decent fish along that stretch of shoreline. Some of the places that have been good, like Peggotty Beach and Egypt Beach, North River Mouth, have all been productive. But you don't have to throw eels, just based on my own experience fishing that same area. Needlefish are great along there. Slender swimmers like an LC minnow or a redfin or something like that are a great option. And when there's bunker around, you can throw your big metalips, and you're going to find some nice sized fish as well. Also, a nice little sort of side effect of that area is that the water tends to stay cooler there further into the summer. So it's a nice little spot to put a little bit of extra time into when the water warms up elsewhere. Heading down toward the canal and then sort of crossing over into the Cape, the Goose Hummock really did a great job kind of putting together a synopsis of the Cape fishing. Posted it a couple days ago. So I'm going to run that right here and get the Goose's perspective on what's going on the Cape.
Afternoon, guys. It's Phil here from the Goose Hummock, and I'm joined with
your boy Bags.
Fishing report. So I went fluke fishing. We did okay. We were out on the Davis Shoals. We did really well. It was good. The draggers unfortunately turned up, which is bad, but hey, Sullivan, get out there if you can, weather permitting. We were also sea bassing again this weekend. They were spawning pretty heavily, but we did get them to feed. As we said on another video, the JLC was the one that did the trick. We did really well. We got our limit, which was fine. They were a bit picky at times, but when the tide was running, it was great. So the sound side was good. Hoping to go out on Friday for tuna. Tuna fishing is a little bit because there isn't any. There's been some stuck in the bait, but the weather with permitting, they're moving around. They're not really moving in and feeding yet. Small ones. I was told by one of the offshore lobstermen, Cody told me the other day that Hydro and Welker are full of bluefin. I heard Hudson's got a load of small fins, so they just need to move in, and hopefully it's going to go. I'm also hearing that the bait further south isn't as good as it was, which hopefully will push the tuna up here. I think with the cold water, we're into a more traditional season. Next couple of weeks, it's going to get going. It's going to start with a trolling bite, normally does as the fish are up top. I'll be out there, like I say, I'm probably hoping to go Friday, and I'll be there next week.
Sweet.
So it's not for me.
That's it.
What about you?
So I got a couple buddies been out to Monomoy, and it seems like it's been steadier than it usually is this kind of time of year. So I usually consider Monomoy like a July thing a little bit.
Sure.
But they've been crushing them. I didn't hear about anything bigger than 38 inches, but steady topwater bites.
That's a small fish for you, Bugs.
Yeah, we'll all take them. You know what I mean? Anything over slot, that's what I'm aiming for. But all topwater action, a bunch of soft plastics with the big Albie snacks, a lot of squid in there. Yeah, a lot of squid in the rips. The beaches have been super, super hot. I'm gonna try to make it out first thing in the morning on the sound side to get after some topwater blues.
Sweet.
So that's kind of the way I'm occupying my time, hitting the ponds for some nice largies. I've been fishing a lot of Gary Yamamoto's now. The the lily pads are starting to grow in. I'm looking for weedless stuff. So whether it's topwater frogs going for weedless or Gary's with the soft plastics, those have been super effective for me. Either going right before dark or first thing in the morning for the trout, still been really, really good. And then bass have been absolutely phenomenal in the bay. We got full moon tonight, I believe.
Yeah,
last
night tonight.
And we got robin's egg blue sky, so not ideal for the surfcaster, but I would pull out the bone, chicken scratch. I kind of stumbled across that pearl chartreuse yozuri. Worked really good for me last full moon. So get after him. I got a nice cow last night. Was very welcomed. And a bunch of overslot. Yeah. Way welcomed. And then a bunch of overslot fish along with it. So spectacular. For the surfcasters, my little inside money bags tip is don't forget your bug spray, because it wasn't windy last night and I was getting eaten alive. We were dealing with it, but I was getting eaten alive.
That's not good. That was the best thing about fishing in May, no bugs.
Yeah.
But anyway, there you go. That's the report. It's pretty good. Sorry, blue. We didn't mention the blues. The blues were in the rips as well. Jake got on the rips.
Nice.
When he was on the boat. So
that's it.
The bluefish have been pushed. They were kind of off Falmouth. They're pushing all the way up.
I'll take it.
And then Stevie Wingman had a really nice sized bonito today in the bay.
Yeah, my buddy caught a couple in buzzards too.
Yeah,
so I'm hoping
cool.
this becomes a reoccurring thing with that big bonito
Global
blitzes all
warming is
summer.
okay.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so there you go. That's the report. Get out there if you can. It's going to be beautiful. We're on Thursday. It's going to be a nice day.
Yep.
This weekend, raining again. Seems to be the trend at the moment. But hey, get out there if you can. The fishing is just really, I said it every week, it's getting going.
Yeah.
But it's pretty damn good right now.
Yeah.
So there you go. Even look at that dog. He's so excited about that report.
He's beat, man. He's been reeling in all those blues.
And then a couple things that I can add to that. First of all, the Bayside beaches continue to put out good striped bass. Talking to a few guys that do a lot of fishing from the beach up there, and a few guys that do some kayaking along that stretch, and they are finding consistent results just about every time that they're going. Fishing has been good. They're not catching a lot of giant fish, but they're doing well and having consistent action. And then just kind of jumping over to Nantucket Sound. A couple things going on there that I want to highlight. First of all, Nantucket Shoals continues to put out giant fluke. We've had a pretty good weather week this week, so a lot of boats have been able to get out there, and they are cashing in on the bite there. Bonito still looking very good along the south shore of the Vineyard. And then on the north shore, we've heard about some big striped bass coming out of the surf. Some fish up to 48 inches is what I've heard about along there. In that stretch for the surf guys, needlefish and darters are king. So make sure you bring those if you take the ferry over to do a little fishing. In and around the Elizabeths, kind of the same thing. There's a mixture of sizes of stripers all on the Elizabeths. And guys are doing quite well there, using a variety of methods. Live eels, of course, are very popular. And then pushing through into Buzzards Bay, hearing about a lot of sea bass activity out there. Still here now. We're hearing about a few guys getting some tog again, which is kind of cool. And I have several confirmed reports of bonito showing up in eastern Buzzards Bay now, and it's starting to feel like we might be seeing sort of a change in the early summer pattern here, and something that might translate to just a new thing where we have bonito in targetable numbers through the summer. So let's kind of cross our fingers on that, because this is the second year in a row, and as long as they stick around, we're going to see another banner bonito year. So definitely want to keep your eyes on that. Heading up toward the canal, I haven't heard a lot from the canal this week, which makes me think there's probably not a whole heck of a lot going on. So let's check in with a guy that's there just about every day. Here's East End Eddie.
Hi Dave, it's a beautiful morning here in the canal. We got a west dropping tide behind me, so things have been pretty slow though. And even John Sea Dog Schmidt the other day said, he said it's so bad that I couldn't even get the no seams to bite. So notwithstanding the reality of that gloom and doom, there was some success. Keith OFD Dacey, the pride of Savin Hill, caught a slot. He was throwing his favorite Tsunami 2-ounce clear plastic, soft plastic jig that had a curly tail, and he did that on an east tide. Most of the fish caught recently, which there haven't been many of, were on an east tide. And Mike Dick from Bourne, great lure maker, he picked off a couple of slots on a topwater bite. with his Happy as a Clam mini cruiser. And a couple of days, this is all last week, and a couple of days before that, he caught a 39-inch bluefish off the bottom. So that's a nice bluefish. Justin Shooter Dorsey was casting for about 4 hours with not even a bump. But Shooter's persistence paid off when he reeled in a 25-pound striped bass that bit a Al Gagg's green mac whippet fish. So congratulations to Shooter. That's a nice fish. That's high hook for the week as far as I know. My tip of the week is that when you're casting in the dock especially, and you lower lands and you close your bail, make sure that the line goes right from the spool to the line roller, because sometimes it gets laid on the top of the drag knob, right over the top of the reel, and you've got the line on top of the drag knob, and you start reeling and turning that handle, and you end up with a bird's nest mess. So just make sure that, you know, if it's docked, just double check it, because you won't normally notice that, and just put the line back where it belongs. So until next week, catch a big one.
And then heading out west into western Buzzards Bay, striped bass activity has been very good out in the western part of the bay, where in the eastern part it's kind of been scattered. We're hearing about some sizable fish. I haven't heard of anything gigantic, but I've heard of some really nice fish up into the low 40-inch class, and lots of fish in that 30 to 38-inch size, which has been good. Talked to Jason Colby. He said that they've been doing really well with big black sea bass. They've also been catching a fair number of keeper-sized tog as well. So things are firing on all cylinders throughout most of Buzzards Bay, and that's what I have for you guys in Massachusetts this week. Man, friggin' no seams are killing me. Crossing over into Rhode Island, we'll start things off with an East Bay report from TJ Kopecki.
Thanks, Dave. Hey guys, quick report on the East Bay here, a little bit of South Coast Massachusetts and the surrounding areas here. Well, going to start off Barrington, Warren, up inside the rivers. I'll tell you, the bass bite is still holding its ground, considering you know how warm the water typically is right now. But the water did cool off, so I think that actually sparked that bite a little bit better. Bucktails and topwater plugs have been working really well up inside of those rivers, dusk and dawn mainly. I did get up there on a Saturday, and it was a cloudy day, and then I think it was about 10 o'clock on an incoming tide, and I did nothing but really good topwater fishing on Matheson Street, all along the docks. Fish were hanging on it. There were multiple fish in there following my plug in, and I mean, they are small. Yes, lots of fun. I did see some bigger fish though, following my plug. Moving out into the bay, Rumstick Point has actually been holding fish. If you can park in Barrington Beach and walk out to Rumstick Point right at dawn, you're going to do well. There's some big fish over there. Try that along the rocks and on the Smith Cove side of Rumstick. Always a good spot, which is pretty much adjacent across from Jacobs Point. It's a little bit of a walk, but if the tide's right, you can walk right out there and nobody bothers you. Moving out towards Colt State Park, it's always a good bet at this time of year, June. Fishing from shore, chunking. I see lots of guys have been fishing there. Bristol Harbor has been a pretty hot spot lately, and what's happening now is we got a lot of small bluefish that are moving in, and I saw a lot of those bluefish in the Sakonnet River this weekend on one of the outings I had. I saw a lot of dolphins chasing those bluefish also, and I gotta tell you, there is a lot of fluke inside the Sakonnet River also, and I did a couple of drops right inside of Fogland Point, and I tell you, every single drop in 13 feet of water, I got a small fluke, which is always a good sign. Still waiting for those bigger ones to get in there. I did have a trip out front where I did catch some really nice fluke and some nice sea bass to go with that. And also found that school of bluefish I was talking about earlier in the Sakonnet River. They were everywhere. I tell you, you could just throw anything at them. I basically was throwing a topwater plug with a single hook on it just to make it quick, but it was really fun. We played with those fish for about an hour. We kept a couple for bait, and it was a good outing. So I got to tell you, things are getting better. There's a lot of life out there, not only in the ocean, but in the Sakana River, into Malho Bay, and Narragansett Bay. Lots of small bait still moving in. So if you guys can get out there, tight lines, and we'll catch you next week.
At the edge of Long Island, where the ocean meets tradition, Montauk Anglers Club can be your boat's home and your gateway to legendary fishing. Whether you're a pro or just casting your first line, this is where memories are made. Join Montauk Anglers Club, where the catch of the day is just the beginning. Or go to montaukanglersclub.com for more information.
Now, as you heard from TJ there's been a lot of life in Rhode Island waters. He's talking about dolphins. I've been hearing about more seals, which I don't love hearing about, but we've been hearing about a lot of varied baitfish species as well. There's been some mackerel around, there's been squid, there's been bunker, there's been butterfish, there's been herring. So you got a lot of bait. You got water temperatures that are staying on the cooler side, and that's translating to an extension of the sort of springtime striped bass fishing, and it's been great. The hardest part is deciding where to go, because there's still a lot of fish up inside Narragansett Bay. And it's probably the best place to go if you want to try to get a slot-sized fish for the table. But don't be surprised if you go up there and get a really big fish, because we've heard of multiple fish into the low 40-pound class coming out of the bay. At the same time, pushing out front. And when I say out front, I mean out in front of Newport, Jamestown, and Point Judith. There are lots of striped bass out there of various sizes. You get a very good chance of getting a seriously large fish. I've seen fish up to 50 pounds over the last couple weeks coming out of that region, and lots of fish in the like 20 to 35 pound range. So if you're out there looking for a catch and release, photo trophy, that would definitely be a good place to go and do that. And this striped bass activity is extending out to Block Island as well, where we have heard about the striped bass fishing just kind of getting to that level where some people call it stupid. Like it's just so good you can't even believe it. The bite for bass out there has been for all sizes, but you're definitely leaning on the size of, leaning on the larger size. However, I was talking to my friend Tom, who spent the week at Block Island this week. He said the surf fishing has been not good at all. He said he's having trouble finding any fish at all from the beaches. So these fish are definitely related to deeper water, relating to the ledge, and it's mostly a boat fisherman's game right now. It's just sort of the way it is. For a little bit more on the striper fishing in the area, let's start things off with Captain Coral Aiello from Sara Star Charters.
It's gonna be a quick one. I'm actually on my way out on my first trip right now. It's foggy. To start off with the weather, it has not been great. We had a lot of easterly wind lately, and it makes fishing hard. It makes it difficult to fish in. It makes it hard for boaters to get out there and get on the ground. It's just not a pleasant wind to fish in. It's not good for the fish, and the direction of the wind makes it really hard to even get away from it at all. So hopefully that changes. We've been having a lot of fog. I'm hoping, because the tail is, the prevailing, the wind we have on the summer solstice, the first day of summer, is going to be the prevailing wind for the summer and the rest of the season. So praying, fingers crossed, that it's not easterly, because we've had a lot of easterly weather, and easterly is not good. East is the least, that's what they say, and it usually holds pretty true. Anyway, on to the fishing. There's a lot of stripers around, of course. It's very easy to run into any kind of blitz, any kind of activity. There seems to be so many piles of them, out front of Newport, out front of Beavertail, Saconnet, still up the bay. There's still tons of bait up the bay. They're on pogies up there still, and they're still filtering out. So there's just so much going on. It's looking really fishy this year, and there's definitely no shortage of bass to be found. Catching them from anywhere from, slot fish to big fish. Of course, there's tons of big fish around. We came up on a school of them, was it yesterday or 2 days ago, out front of Brenton Reef, and there was just giant fish, like 35 inches and up, just rolling on the surface for hours. It was pretty epic. It was one of the coolest things I've seen so far this season. Throwing pretty much anything at them, soft plastics. I like using an Albie snaps with like a weighted jig head. That works really well. Top water, anything you threw at them. A lot of people have been doing very well on eels, trolling, you name it, they're hitting it. So there's a lot of opportunity for that. Still a lot of action on top water with birds around the reef, down at Ledge Road as well. And there's also been, reports of people catching bones in some of these feeds as well, so that's really cool. You don't usually see those fish until later on in the season. The sea bass bite, I haven't done too much of it. It just opened yesterday for us for charter, so I'm gonna go out there today, try to get a limit on sea bass. It shouldn't be too hard, it's only 2 per person, but you know, you have to weed through a lot of smalls to find those big jumbo ones. The fluke bite hasn't been as great as it was the last time I spoke to you and, you know, did their fishing report a few weeks ago, but you know, you have to weed through a lot of shorts inshore anyway. They probably are moving out deeper, so maybe the offshore bite would be a little bit better, but I haven't been out there, so I can't really speak on that. As far as, you know, bluefish, tons of bluefish around. The last couple days there's been a lot of them, you know, which can be kind of annoying sometimes if you're trying to get a bass, but really good fight, you know, on the later tackle. So yeah, it's looking pretty fishy. I'm really excited for what the season has in store, because I think it's going to be a really fishy one.
Now let's check in with Jeff Sullivan. Here he is.
What's up, guys? What's up, Dave? Checking back in this week. It's been epic. The striped bass bite has been the best I've seen in a long time. As far as the spring bite goes into the summer, because we're approaching summer now, man, it has been epic. And we're still finding herring coming out of the rivers. It's awesome. The little baby herring, we're getting on feeds left and right. Your Joe Bag Swatter and Bone's been doing very well. Your SP Minnow and Mother of Pearl and Bone's been doing very well. And Bucktails have been doing really well. I've been racing them on the surface, and fish been coming up and slamming them. It's awesome. Awesome. I mean, let's be honest, the bucktail matches every bait you can think of, pretty much, around here at least. A bucktail is so deadly, and I've said that at a couple of my seminars I've did, and yeah, I always have a bucktail, so make sure you have a bucktail just in case. But the topwater bite's been very good. The 7 and 9 inch stock's been working. You know, the guppy pencil's been working too, as well. Or any type of pencil you can get your hands on has been working very well. You know, the flutter spoon bite's been good. You know, we're encountering a lot of bunker schools still, so you know, you find bass on bunker. I like to use the Tsunami heavy duty shads. Those things get the job done. Those bass chew them, and they when they hit them hard, so you know, hold on tight. But other than that, live line and bunker, if you can get your hands on live bunker, casting at them, or see my buddy Pokey John out there working hard as usual, he'll hook you up with some liveys if he's around. But yeah, it's been epic, Dave. I can't remember at the top of my head a spring this good. There's just been fish everywhere, you know, Upper Bay to Block Island to Point Judith out to Westport. It's just been Newport. It's just been epic. The array of bait that we have this year, this early, is good to see too. You know, the sand eels just started showing up, and the bonito right behind them. So, and it's pretty early for bonito, which is fine with me because it switches up options. It gives another look, you know, in case, you know, the bluefish bite's not that great that day, or the striped bass bite's not that great. You know, there's always bonito, and there's always fluke. So, speaking of fluke, the fluke bite has been pretty good. It's you know, it's not the greatest, but it's not the worst. So it's pretty much at a mid level. You know, we found them deep and we found them shallow. So I think if you can just kind of narrow down a drift and find them, and just, you know, drag a fluke rig in the back and bucktail at the same time, you know, you'll cover water that way and you'll get some options going that way. But it's been I would say it's average. It's not the greatest. So unless you go to the shoals, of course, but even at the shoals sometimes it has its days. But other than that, Dave, it's been around the clock striped bass fishing. I encountered a lot of squid last night, or the night before, one of the 2 nights. I get my days mixed up. I think it was last night. I walked up on big squid getting beat up on. It was just like insane. I thought I was getting my leg chewed off. That's how aggressive these fish were. But they're nice fish, and I'm going to keep on that bite until it subsides and then go to the next option. But right now, everything is on, you know, firing all cylinders. And hey, maybe we'll get some albies early this year. That'd be cool. But yeah, that's it for the saltwater side of things. The freshwater side of things have been largemouth, frogging, 10-inch power worms. You know, that's been the deal right now. You know, your whopper ploppers have been doing okay. And you know, the white perch bites exploded over the last couple of days. I suspect it was going to with this moon. And went out today to go check on my buddies, and they were chewing. So that's good to know too. So I have a lot of options on the table. And if you guys are out there trying to do a mixed bag thing too, go ahead. It's firing. You put the time in, you catch the fish. That's the name of the game. So, all right, guys. Check in with you guys next week. Later.
And to get a little more detail on what's going on out around Block Island, including the striped bass and some other species, here's Captain John Lee from JL Charters.
Hey, it's John Lee, Point Judith, Rhode Island. I'm on the pilot boat. We're about to leave to grab a pilot on an outbound ship. The shipping schedule for the month of May and June has been very busy, so I'm hoping that is a sign the economy is on the rise. As far as the fishing goes, we've had a bunch of bass charters all to Block Island. We've done pretty well on striped bass. Every trip we get them, the fish have been either on top and you see them, the birds are working, or they're down low and you see them on the fish finder. We've been getting a lot of good sized fish on SP minnows in the sand eel pattern. It's been kind of a deadly bait for us, but we also have caught some big bass on eels, on diamond jigs, and on the good old wire and umbrella rigs. Sea bass starts today for the charter community. I will have more news about bottom fishing because we're going to start doing more and more bottom trips. I do hear the fluke bite has increased, which is very good news for us. We like when there's some fluke around. We like when there's sea bass around. It's just something else to do instead of just drilling on stripers. Anyway, have a good one. Have a good week.
Now, the other species that's seeing a lot of attention right now in Rhode Island waters is fluke. And, you know, a lot of people think they got to go out to Block Island or go do the South County beaches to get them. And those spots are producing fish. But we're also seeing some fluke up into the sort of the neck of the bay right now. We're seeing some fish going up into the Sakonnet River. We're seeing some fish coming out of the east and west passages. So where there are bait, or where there is bait, there are fluke. And, you know, so just keep your eye on the screen, find yourself some clouds of bait, and there's a very good chance you're going to find some fluke as well. And then looking out along the beaches, along the South County beaches and the breachways, we're coming into the new moon now. We're coming into some very large tides, and I would expect surf fishermen to have a pretty good week out along the beaches and breachways this week. So, you know, keep your finger on that pulse, and that's what I have for you guys in Rhode Island this week. And one last thing I wanted to mention in Rhode Island is that the bonito fishing has been very good in Rhode Island waters. Basically from Sakonnet over to Point Judith, that's been the super hot zone, but they're finding them outside of that region as well. But in that little epicenter there, multiple guys now are telling me that they are going out looking for bonito and finding them. It's not like they're just mixing in with stripers and bluefish and you get lucky. They are here in targetable numbers, and that's a really cool thing to see. So that's just one little thing I wanted to add to the Rhode Island report. Jumping over into Connecticut, a lot of the focus right now is on striped bass, as it has been for, what, 6 weeks now in Connecticut. The best surf fishing we're hearing about in Connecticut right now is in the Eastern Sound, basically from the Connecticut border out to the Thames River and then kind of heading out toward the Nantucket Bay from there. Heard about mixed sizes, but I've heard about a few really nice fish. Boat guys, kayak guys are getting in on it as well. And this bite is extending up into the Thames River and extending into Nantucket Bay as well. So a lot of good striped bass activity in that region. Crossing over out into the Fisher's Island area, we're also hearing about good striped bass in the Race. Guys are doing that with umbrella rigs, they're doing it with mojos, they're doing it with diamond jigs, and they're getting some fish on top water when the tide slows down as well. There are some sea bass out there to be had on some of those deeper ledges, particularly when the water slows down a little bit, so you can kind of mix it up there if you feel so inclined. And then heading out toward the Connecticut River, A lot of the striper fishing that was happening inside the river seems to have cleared out, and most of the fish now are out on the adjacent beaches and the adjacent reefs. Sounds like the bite's still pretty solid, and for a little bit more on that, we're going to check in now with Captain Mike Roy from Reelcast Chart.
Hey everybody, for this week's fishing report, striped bass fishing remains very good. We're catching fish on a wide variety of lures. As always, the soft plastics are working really well, like this 9-inch sluggo and finesse fish right here. We've had some topwater action as well, where we're getting big fish to come up and hit big spooks like Shimano Splash Walks fish on the surface, which is pretty cool to see. One difference I've seen over the past few days is some big bluefish showing up. These are big 10 to 15 pound bluefish, so that's pretty interesting to see that. Black sea bass season opens, I believe it's June 23rd in New York state waters, so I'm sure there'll be a big effort for black sea bass coming up. As we approach the summer over the next couple of weeks, temperatures are going to warm up, and we're going to be focused on getting those big cow stripers. So we're booking those trips in July and August using live bait. We're going to be fishing live eels and live bunker for those big fish. That's all I have for you. Good luck.
Now we'll head up the river and we'll check in with Rowan Lytle.
Hey everybody, after a short spell of some cooler weather and a little bit of rain and some thunderstorms, looks like we're in for some really hot stuff over the next week or so. And that's not the worst thing for the Connecticut River. It's finally down a bit, lower and clearer, more typical for this time of year. I would anticipate over the next week or so there would be pretty darn good morning and evening topwater bites for bass. The pike fishing should be on the slow side. That'll probably fade out into the summer doldrums, with the exception of some smaller fish in some of the backwaters. And cat fishing should pick up sort of post-spawn. They've been in the throngs of the spawn the last week or so, and smaller fish have been biting, but the larger fish have been slower. I kind of anticipate them coming out of that into the post-spawn feeding window, which can be a pretty productive time. Carp fishing should be slow in the afternoons, best in the morning, probably pretty decent in the evening as well. Just focus on those low light periods, frankly, for most things. And there should be pretty good evening bowfin bites. That's been one of the highlights over the last few days, even though it's been cooler. But should continue to be good on those muggy days, which bowfin really like.
Now we'll jump across the river and we'll stop in Westbrook and check in with Matt Stone from Black Hall Outfitters.
The bass fishing is phenomenal right now. Despite the water being kind of on the lower end of what it normally is this time of year, like 60, 61, it seems like the bass are moving in pretty heavily. We have guys saying it's the best they've had in years, so that's pretty awesome to hear. Right now, it seems like the majority of those big fish are out in deeper water and on the structure associated with that deeper water, mostly the reefs and rips and things like that. That bite has continued. It normally kind of fizzles out by now as those bass move in tighter to shallower water, and some certainly have moved into shallower water, but in general, it seems like that reef bite is still firing off pretty good. We have guys coming in here buying spoons, jigs, diamond jigs, tying up throughway bucktail rigs, tying up throughway eel rigs for that deeper water, trolling Rapala X-Traps, 20 to 30 foot divers along those edges of the reefs and things like that. So some really good fishing out there, and you are seeing from time to time those fish come up on top as well, so it can't get any better than that, right? Other than that, we are hearing some pretty solid fluking locally. 40 feet plus seems to be the ticket right now. Sea bass, it's about to close here June 23rd. It closes for Connecticut, but right now it seems like it's pretty slow to start the year, but that low water temperature makes that not terribly surprising. Porgy open as always, and those guys are getting better. Our shore anglers are getting better. A lot of guys doing well on sandworms. You can also get them on squid, small metals and things like that if you're drifting and want to kind of bend a rod. Those guys are biting as well. So it looks like we've got a pretty hot week ahead of us here, so I definitely think that should kind of shuffle the deck, I suppose, get some fish moving, get some fish settling into some more summer type haunts. But right now, a lot of transient fish in the sound, a lot of big fish in the sound, and just a lot of life in general. So great to hear, and definitely seems like things are trending upward. So get out there and catch them up.
And then heading west of the river, out to 6 Mile, out to southwest. These reefs are holding a plethora of bait species, whether you want to go for scup, whether you want to catch sea bass off those deeper ends, whether you want to drift through with eels and try to target a giant striped bass. There are bluefish in the area. There are slot-sized fish to be had. There's been some blitz activity there at times. These little reefy areas along that stretch are holding tons of fish right now, and we're seeing a lot of activity coming out of there. So going into this weekend, it would definitely be a good place to target. And it's also definitely going to be a good place if you want to try to find a slot-sized striper. That's another good spot to look for that. If you want to get on some fluke, I might try the Sand Shoal outside of the Connecticut River. That might be a place that you might want to check out. And I've heard about some fluke coming from the New Haven area as well. So those are a couple spots you can check out there. Western Sound is putting out lots of striped bass still. We're still seeing some very impressive specimens coming out of there. We're hearing about some really nice fluke coming out of there as well. A lot of the bigger fish seem to be coming, on those low light periods. So, don't sleep on that. And for a little bit more on the things going on out in the West, here's Max Finch from Fisherman's World.
Hey everyone, Max here from Fisherman's World with the fishing report. This past week, the bass bite still remains really good on the backside of the moon. We saw some big fluke. Rick, the owner of the shop, had fluke, the week before to 9 pounds. He had them to almost 8 this week and a 2-man limit. So the fluking on our side definitely picked up. There's not as many shorts. You're not weeding through tons of fluke like you are in Smithtown. The bite's a little slower, but the fluke are a lot bigger. And, squid this time of year is really good. A lot of the squid that we're filleting or we're seeing, they're coughing up like 12-inch squid that's out here. So drifting these fluke spoons on the windy days with a whole squid on the back is your best bet. And then your bucktails or our Fisherman's World ones with the swinging hook tipped with squid and spring is excellent. So south of the island's like 20 to 30 feet. I would definitely drive around to start marking sand eel clouds, and I would start drifting there. The bass bite's still the same places: 28C, 11B, the OB buoy, Can 13, trolling, bunker spoons, deep divers, flutter spoons, docks around the bunker schools. A lot of bunker pushed into our harbor and around the island, so that brought a lot of fish in. So blind casting structure like Green's Ledge, Kakini's Reef, all the points, the rip lines, definitely worth going out early morning or sunset and plugging around. Porgies are getting better and better. They're still not on the beaches, but guys are catching them from the boat. But this warmer weather we're having definitely helped heat up the water, so they should come inshore and guys start getting them from the beaches. Bluefish are in good numbers in the mid-sound. They are starting to hit our reefs. We are hearing on jigs and trolling on 11B and the OB and 28C. This should only get better, and we're gonna be moving towards the new moon with some big 8.5-foot tides. So the diamond jig and bite should really get going out on our reefs. Thanks and good luck.
And that's what I have for you guys in the reports this week. Hopefully it's going to inspire you to get out there this weekend. We're finally seeing some summer-like weather. I don't mind these cloudy, sort of overcast days, though. They keep that water temp down. Water temps are lower than they typically are at this time of the year, and that's just, to me, that's just an extension of spring fishing. So I love to see that. If you're not a subscriber to the Fisherman magazine, I highly recommend you head over to our website. That's thefisherman.com. You get a full taste of what we offer. We cover all the fishing from Delaware to Maine, whether you're a freshwater guy, an offshore guy, an inshore guy, a surf guy, kayak guy, whatever. It's all covered. We cover all species. We cover all disciplines. It's $31.95 for the year. It's the best $32 you can spend in fishing. You're going to get 12 paper editions sent to your house. You get 26 digital editions sent to your email. Digital access to all the back issues, plus digital access to our other 2 editions, of which we have 3. So if you sign up for my edition, which is the New England, you're going to get digital access to the Long Island and the New Jersey. You're going to get to kind of keep your finger on the pulse of all the fishing along the entire northeast coast, and you're going to do that all for one low price of $31.95. That's what I have for you guys in the reports this week, and I appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week.